Right. Hello and welcome to Ecosystem free online course, free online lesson. My name is Nabi Fikri bin Shaizan, an application engineer from Ecosystem. So for today's topic for this F1 free online lesson, so we will take a look at the Inventor for drawing setup. So basically, we're going to create a drawings view, which is converting 3D modeling into 2D object. And then we're going to put some dimensions and basically just to create some documentation. Right, so this is basically what we are going to do today. So we're going to create some multiple views. We're going to put some dimensions and we're going to create some boundaries. Right, so start off here. Let's say I already finished with my 3D model and I want to convert this into a 2D documentation so that I can print it out. So there are a few ways that we can go to the drawing files. So to do that, we can go to the new file over here. Right, so you can just drop down and you can go to the drawing over here, or you can just directly click at the new and it will open up the template selections. Then you can select your templates. Then you can select the drawing at the below over here. The other ways that you can go into here, you can also right click at your model's name above. You just right click and then you can select create drawing view. So it's automatically create a drawing with this model. So for this case, there are two types of drawings that drawing file that you can choose from. One is IDW and then the other one is DWG. So the difference is IDW stands for Inventor Drawing. Basically, this is for inventors. But if you want this drawing to be able open for the AutoCAD, so you can just save as DWG instead. But for this case, I'm just going to go with IDW. Okay, create, and it automatically it will bring up my 3D model inside here. Right, and then over here you can configure your views. So you can see there are view cube over here. You can use this to switch which is the view that you want. From top view, maybe right view, front, you can just specify from here. And if I like to increase the scale, so I can find from the drawing views here. I say I'm gonna go with scale 1.5 just to make it a little bit bigger. And then I can just move my mouse around and I have to click anywhere. Let's say I'm going to click at the right side. So it's giving me the front view of this item. So if I click at the bottom side, it's giving me the top view. Right. So this view here is the first angle view, first angle projection view. So if you want to select where I click at the top side, creating the top side instead of back side. So for that, you can set up later. But for this case, let's say this is the view that I want. So I can go ahead and click OK, and creating the 2D view, which is created based from the 3D model before. So I still want to go around with the projection view, but I want to change into third angle. For that case, I can go to Manage, and I can go to Style Editor. Right, so from here, from the standards, default standard, I can go to the view preference and I can select projection type to third angle instead. And I can save and close. So next time, if I try to use this view, let's say I want to use the top view, so I can just double click and I can move to the top and it should create the top view instead of the bottom view. Right, so that is one of the ways to do that. Now, let's say I want to proceed, set up some of the view from here. So again, I can just double click and I can edit the view from here. I can edit from the cube. So the rest will follow from the first one. So you can see it's following the first one. I can just double click, get back again. I can change the view. And I was also able to change a few styles from here. You can see the view that we currently have is the hidden line. It will show you the 2D line and also the hidden line. If I don't want that, I can just set to hidden line remove. I can also set to shaded, so it will give me the shaded much like the 3D view. But for this case, I'm just going to leave it as the unshaded. That's okay. So anything that we create from the original one will be linked to the child of this. So this will be the parent. So if we double click over here, so you can see it is currently blocked out. But if I would like to still able to edit from here, I can just remove the chain over here. So it's allowing me to set up different styles from different level. In this case, I also still want this as a hidden line. If I would like to add some more items, so maybe not the item from here only, maybe some other item as well. So I can go back to the base over here. If I click base, I can find other items that I want. So maybe this time I want to input this jaw. I press OK. So I have different item which is not actually part of this item. You can just double click to maybe change the view or maybe change the view size. And I have created different view from it with different parts. Now, other ways that you can use to create more projection view is that you can go to the base view, create, then you can go to the projected. So you can click over here, then you can select this file and it will create the other projection. So if you move to the bottom, up, left, and right, it will create a 3D view. So if you want isometric view, you can go to the bottom left or bottom right or the top view, something like this, and you the isometric. With this, you're also able to project, which is from the child. So you can just project from the child or the parent. So you're also able to create other views from here as well. Now, if you would like to have other different type of views, for example, different type of angles, so you can use auxiliary view. So auxiliary view allow you to view from different angles. For example, if I have this line here, I don't want this to move up, left, and right. I want to project based on this angle line over here. So I can click at the auxiliary view. I can select this view over here, and I can select this line over here. So let me just click again. Auxiliary view, and select this view, and select this line angle, and it's giving me this angle from this particular view. Now, this view is also locked, same like the top, and also the right side here is locked. I cannot move up and down freely. So what I can do is that I can break the alignment. So if I can click at this view, right click and select alignment, and I can select break. So this will allow me to move freely anywhere. So same goes with the others. Other ways that you can use to rotate is that instead of using the auxiliary view, you can also right click at the view, and then you can select rotate. Instead, you can select an angle, and then you can input angle. Let's say I want to rotate around 45 degrees. Maybe I want to reverse, you can just flip this one. Other ways that you can, other things that you can select the view is the sections. Sections allow you to create a cut section of your object, and it allows you to view what's inside of your object. Currently, this one is only a single part files. So let's say if I would like to have an assembly file instead, and I would like to see what's inside. So for this case, I have this model over here, which consists of different assembly files. So we have 3 assembly files, and we have multiple part files from here. Again, I'm going to create a drawing view from here. Again, I'm going to select ISO view. And same methods, I'm just going to set up my view first and set up my scale. Right, so let's say this is this view that I have, and I want to create a cut sections right in the middle of here, and I want to project that view without at the front of it or the back. So I can use section view. I can select the view, and I can select the line for the cutting section. So once I select it, I can right click and select continue, and it will allow me to create a cut section from this line over here. So if I click over here, and then it's creating from this view, from the back view into this view. If I want to have the front view from the front view, so again, I can just right click over here and I can reverse the direction. So it's giving me from the front view instead. You can also use sections, not just straight line like this. So you can select, then you can create a line with some levels, and it's still allow you to create the view from back. So let me just undo that. So from here, I want to create this line. Maybe I want to go down a little bit up until here, and then right click and continue. So right now I have created, which is cut from the top. If I want to cut from the above, I can just right click and reverse this. Next view that you can use is the detail view. So this will allow you to view on certain area. For example, I don't want to zoom in the entire object of this, but I still want to see only this area. So for that case, you can use detail view. So it's more like a magnifier tools. So you can select the view, and then you can click a rotation of these circles over here. And this will allow you to zoom in on that particular area, which can use this detail view to adjust the scale. So for this case, I believe the scale is already good, so I don't need to adjust. But if I need to make it slightly larger or higher, so I can just remove it. So currently the cutout shape is jagged, so I don't want this jagged. I want it to be smooth round, so I can just pick smooth round. And I can also display a full detail boundary, so it will create a circles around this view. And I want it to show the line as well. So once I press OK, it's creating this particular view that you can see from here. So to edit, I cannot just double click edit. Does not show the previous dialog box, so I can right click and selecting the edit from here instead. So that is more on the detail. Now let's take a look at the creating the annotations, which is where you can use to create some text or dimensions. So for this case, I'm gonna go back with this particular view, since I have easier methods, easier shape. So for this annotation, so there are a few things that you can do from here. Right, so you can input additional symbols if you want to. So you can find additional symbol from here. Maybe you have weldings, or maybe you have some datum that you need to input. You can just here. But for this case, I'm just going to input the center lines. So currently we have the header line, but not center lines. So I can find from the symbol over here, and I have these center lines over here. So I can just click over here. Then let's say I'm just going to click at the center point over here, and I can just click at the centers at the bottom over here, and it will create the center line from here. Right. So maybe the center line from here, you can just click, or maybe this from here until here instead, and it will create the center line. If you don't currently have the points that you can snap into, the best method that you can use is that you can use the center line bisectors. So this will allow you to select both the lines, and it will divide the line automatically. So for this case, I can just use these bisectors. Second line, and it will create the line at the middle of the two lines. And if I want to, I can also re-edit back lines. So I can just make it slightly longer. So for the circles, or the whole, I can just use the center mark, and I can select at the circles. It will create the center mark at that particular circles. So once I'm done, again, I can just right click and select OK, and it's creating this center lines into my drawings. Right, so that is a bit on the symbol. So let's take a look at the dimensions. So we have this dimension over here. You can just pick, click the dimensions. You can click the lines, automatically creates based on that two lines, or I can click from one point to another point, or I can also click from one line to another line also can. So currently we have this type of dimension format, dimension styles. If you want different formats, so you can go ahead and click dimension again, and then you can change different format from here. Let's say I'm gonna click at this line over here. Currently, I'm still using by standards. Let's say I'm clicking at the methods to A, so I have different dimension format over here. Maybe I want this format. I have this particular format. Dimension format you can change at the style editor from here. So I can click the style editors. So much the same that I change the settings from here. So I can find the dimension settings from here. So currently we have 5 different settings. If I want more, I can just right click at one of the items, create a new styles, and then I can edit the settings from here. The units, the alternate units. Maybe I want some change the displays, or maybe change the text colors. Maybe I want with some tolerance, so I can just do it from here. But for this case, I'm just gonna go with the default one, just right here. So you can also double click or right click from here and selecting the edit dimension or new dimension from here, and it will pop up the same interface for the style editor. Right, so on annotation, so we have different types of dimension as well, such as baseline. This basically allows you to create multiple types of line, and it will automatically create a dimension for you. So once I've clicked all of the lines selected, I can right click and select continue, and it will bring up my dimension. So ordinate, so I can just click, so I can select the views that I want. Maybe at the top view, okay, then I need to specify the origin point. So let's say this is the origin point, and then it will specify based on line that I have created. So right click again, continue, and it will create based from the origin point. Okay. Right click and I press OK to accept. This one is a bit further, so let me just move downward a little bit. Other things that you can do is you can also input some change dimensions. Basically, if you want from one line to another line to another lines, have its own length, so you can use change instead. The same method, just the lines, and you can just right click and it will create the lines. So that is a bit online. So if you want to include some information such as all, so you can go into the feature notes over here, and then you can select holes and tracks. So this will allow to extract the information of this hole automatically. So if I click over here, then you will see the hole is created with 6 diameter with 300 deep, which is at the back over here, and then around 8 diameter with 10 deep, which is at the front over here. So basically, it's automatically allowed to create the holes from, so it will extract the whole information. So there are other things that you can do from here, such as you can extract the chamfers, the punch tools, or the pen tools. So this is if you have a flat metal sheet. Right. So if you want to create text, so you can go to the text here, and I can put some text. So let me just delete some of this unnecessary item. So to delete, you can just simply click and right click to delete, and it will delete my. So let me just add more things such as text. Text, I can just input text over here. So I can just click and I can just input some information. And basically the text is almost the same that you create the text from the sketch from here. So if I click the sketch text, so basically you will see the same interface that pop out from here. Right, so you want to edit the text, again, you can just double click and you can just edit the text from here. Right. Lastly, when you're creating these objects, most likely you want also to include a BOM list, a list of parts for example, this is only one part files. So if I have multiple parts like this, for example, I have this assembly 1, assembly 2, assembly 3, and inside assembly I have multiple other inventor parts, and I want it to list down all of this. So let me just go back from here. To do that, you can create tables. So normal tables, you can go to the general over here, and then I can just click OK, and it will allow to create a list. This one you can just manually edit these columns to edit the name, for example, maybe material, for example. This one you can configure on your own. This is more on manual, so you can just double click and input some information that you want from here. But there are easy way to extract the information that we have here is that you can use part list. So part list will access the BOM list that you have at the assembly file over here. So for example, on the assembly, I go to the BOM list, bill of material. So you can see this list of material over here. So we have part numbers, which is from the which is from the model data. Or if you want to see the structure only or the part only, so you can extract this information inside of the drawing file. So from here, you can create part list, and it will ask me to select the view. So for this case, I want to select, this is the view that I want. And then I can select the BOM view, so whether I want it to be structure or the part list. So structure is only selecting the assembly file, the top assembly files, the sub assembly. So when I click OK, it will only give me 3 sub assembly. So we can see over here. So we have assembly 1, assembly 2, assembly 3. If I want to have a child of this assembly, so I can just select, you can also select parts. So this will bring all of the parts. Let me just delete. So I can select the part list. I can select this is the view, and the BOM view, I want to list all of the parts, so part number. So I press Set, and it will list down all of the parts that you have on your assembly files. So this part list you can also configure. Let me just move this one up. So in this part list, you can also configure. So you can just double click, and this will bring out the part list that you can edit up the settings from here. You can set up the settings from here. Maybe I don't need the description from here. I can go into the column chooser, and I can remove the description. So if I want to have different information that I would like to export out, so I can find from here. Let's say I'm gonna add maybe materials or maybe mass. So once I'm done, I can just press accept, and then you have this material and mass created, and it will be add the materials. Other things that we have over here, we have items, numbers, we have qualities, and we have part numbers. So this one you can just remove or add some more. You can also filter some of the settings, or maybe you can also sort the settings, maybe by names. For this case, I have part number. This is not much of a part number, but more on the names. So if I want to rename this part number to name, so I can just right click, I can just right click at the header over here, and I can select format column. I can just rename this. Let's say I'm gonna name it as a part name instead. It's okay, and then I have part name. So when I press done, and then I have this part list created from here. I can also click to edit up the views from here, just to make it slightly longer. But maybe I just set up later. So you can see we have this part list over here. Then on the item over here, so we have item 1, item 2, item 3, we have quantities. So currently on the items number, so we have item number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so on. So this is where to indicate which is the items that you have on this object over here. So let me just move this. So which is item 1, which is item 2. So to view which is the item, you can use balloon. So if I click at the balloon over here, and I can click any of the parts. Let's say I'm clicking at these parts, and click and right click, continue. So this is part number 2. So part number 2 is bottom fronts. Right, so I can click one by one to add more of the part. If I would like to add more of the balloons automatically, so I can just drop down from here and I can select auto balloon instead. And this will allow you to select all of the balloon. So the first thing is I need to select the view first. This is the view that I want. You can select add or remove components. So I want to add all of the components, so I will select all of this. So you can see the bottom one is not selected because we already have the auto balloon. We already have created the balloon manually from here. But so for this case, it will not create a new balloon from here. And then lastly, I need to select the placement. And then it will create the placement which is horizontally, or if you want, you can create vertically, or you can also select around, which is allow you to create the balloons around this particular object. So I can just click, and then I can hit apply, and the balloon has been created by one. You can also click to move it around if you find the view not easy to view. So you can see item number 7 is upper front. You can just simply see based on the part list. If I would like to add more view at the different angle, if I like to add more balloon at different angles, if I use auto balloons, I can click over here. It will not able to add. So if I click everything, only items that are not yet added will be shown. The rest, the items that are not yet added, will not be added anymore. But if you still want to show that item, you can still use the manual balloon. Manual balloons still allow you to add 1 or 2 more balloons. Right, so that is for the BOM list. Other things that you can edit from here, for example, if I create a cut section view from here, you can see it's creating these hatch lines over here. You can just double click to edit the hatch pattern lines and just drop maybe to increase or decrease where I want to change on different hatch. So it will change to different hatch. I can increase or decrease the scales, so on and so forth. So if I like to edit the format of this hatch, it also have its own formats. So if I go to the start editor, again, from the start editor, it has its own format for the hatch as well. So this will be created automatically when you create the hatch. So that is pretty much the things that I would like to share with you guys today with the Inventor Drawing. So thank you everyone for joining this free online lessons. And I hope I can see you guys on our next lessons. Thank you everyone and have a nice day.